Be so serious. Does my buzz cut look insane right now? Is it fringing in a way that's not cute? Are you sucking your thumb?
I have a splinter.
You need to be put in a constrictive
tank.
I'm sorry.
Mama.
Baba.
I've been visiting Miss Spanks for years. I've been visiting Tammy Spanks for years.
Have you been visiting Miss Spanks recently?
No, the last time I put on shapewear, I think, was to be Jessica Lange in American Horror Story Asylum in the Name Game.
But be so serious. Be so serious when you slipped that shapewear on.
Oh my God. And let me tell you something.
That body was tea.
Let me tell you something.
What?
It had a bulge hole. And this is when I knew I needed reconstructive surgery.
But what do you mean? Oh, was it for men?
I think so. I think, or like maybe, no, but I think that there's still going to be a hole occasionally just for everyone to be able to use a bathroom in.
Oh, it was like a squirt hole?
That is foul. That is misogynist. That was nasty.
I didn't mean it like in a sexual way. I think that like when you piss, you squirt.
Oh my God. But it had a hole, and so it was sucking everything in, but the bulge.
And
I was like, should I wear this every day of my life? Is this what I'm supposed? It's always the question: Is this what I'm supposed to look like?
Yeah.
Like, which is so sad.
Maybe society says that you should.
No, but I don't mean it in like should I have a six pack? I mean, like, if I didn't have loose skin and lose weight, is this what my body would have naturally grown into if I didn't love Pop-Tarts?
If my fupine wasn't like popping over.
If my fupishi wasn't in control of every room I walk into. Yeah.
Holy hell. But you have been, the thing about Joe, he's been hurting himself.
I have been.
You've been hurt.
I've been hurt. I think a hex is on me. I actually discussed this yesterday. I think I know who hexed me, and I think there's a hex on me. Because let me tell you, injured my foot in Fire Island. Yesterday, I am biking to the gym, which it's my crime and punishment. You know what I mean? It makes sense. I shouldn't have gone.
And I'm not even going to ask. Keep going.
I'm biking to the gym. I was annoyed. I was in a bad mood, which is unsurprising. Whoa. I was crossing the street right in front of the gym, and I look up and I see, oh, that's a bus. Oh, a bus is coming at me.
You were Regina George.
Yes. Well, wouldn't that be nice for everyone? Wouldn't that feel karmically justice?
The message that you got hit by a bus. I don't even know. Obviously.
Oh, would you be upset? I mean,
Joe, of
you
course.
Finish one sentence.
Of course, I would be upset.
That'd be so scary.
That was me being in shock. It would be so scary. It would be so scary. I'd be scared for you.
You'd be scared for yourself?
No, I wouldn't be scared for myself. I wouldn't be in the equation.
I know my Aunt Franny one time got hit by a car, and then the person who was driving the car sued her for denting the car.
That's nasty.
It's crazy. It could be a lie. Do you have like generational family lies that you know are a lie? I feel like your parents aren't as much of compulsive liars.
Your parents are.
And
your dad is the biggest compulsive liar I've ever met, but like in the most comedic way.
It's so sick. There's things about my family that I believe to be true that only as I age am I like, did my Uncle Guy used to wear a silk scarf and white rimmed sunglasses and have 2 Afghan dogs next to him in a convertible and drive around Queens? Or was that something my dad made up?
Your dad made that up.
Do you know what I mean,
there's not a chance in hell. I met your Uncle Guy. There is no way he had a silk scarf wrapped around his neck with 2 Afghan dogs riding in the front seat.
So it's just things like that. Anyway, yeah, then I almost hit a kid on in a stroller because I had to speed up with the bus. Stroller's coming. And I mean, no one wants...
You have the right of way or no?
No. That's the problem. Because of the bus, I didn't even think twice about continuing. Because I was like, I have to save myself.
No.
Then I see this stroller and I'm like, here's the thing. I would rather die. I would rather die in most circumstances. So in this, I'm like, I would much rather have been hit by the bus than hit a kid on the stroller on a bike. So I stopped so short. And then my whole bike went sideways. And then my body skidded across the asphalt. That bike did not touch that stroller. And that mother was very concerned for me. And I was just happy that her kid wasn't injured. And then here's how we put a button on this one. A shirtless daddy walks up to me. Shirtless daddy walks up to me. White hair. Sexy.
Sexy?
Built beyond belief.
Stop.
He says, that was an amazing save. That was the best save I've ever seen in my entire life. And I turned to that mother and I said, I did that for his approval. And I got a laugh out of her. I hobbled away. I bled out on the streets
That was a good line, Joe. I did that for his approval.
I was like, like
good boy.
It was good. It was good. It was good.
Ooh, that's sexy. I just want to say one thing that happened to me at that gym yesterday. I had a woman look me in the face and say, "You must not be into cardio."
What?
In front of Miss Paulina, she looked me in the face and she goes, "You must not be into cardio. Maybe instead, you should go in the pool and walk laps."
Like you're a 16-year-old Cocker Spaniel?
Literally, or I'm like doing water aerobics and I'm in my 70s. You must not be into cardio. I don't even know what she meant by that. And she said it's because you're a strong guy.
Oh, you're a big boy?
I was a big boy.
You were a big boy.
I was a big boy. I was like, yeah.
Oh my God.
I actually was in disbelief someone would ever say that. That's actually, to me, that was worse than the F word.
Which one?
Fat. Oh. They're both three letters, so it wouldn't have helped.
Good children. Hey guys, I am Joe Hegyes.
And I'm Andrew Muscarella.
And this is
Good Children. We spent the past 24 years growing together.
And now it's time for us to grow up. You know, we have been through it all, Andrew. Let's think about this. I have been raised by your father.
Yes.
You have been raised by my father.
Yeah.
And then we have met many a father along the way.
I have met a lot of daddies. Along the way. And you know what? Sometimes daddies breed daddies.
What?
I would say what I was saying by that is like I wasn't necessarily bred by let me rephrase. The daddies raised me into being a daddy. Is how I was trying to phrase it. But daddies bred daddies.
I feel a little bit better hearing that. Yeah. That was crazy.
It's like two things. I talked about squirting and now I'm talking about breeding.
Hey.
That's
season 6. Let's talk about the inception of this episode.
Yeah.
So last weekend, it was New York City's Pride weekend. Me and Andrew were feeling our oats at a Robin party, a $3 bill, a likely place for us to be. And we were probably about a couple drinks to the wind.
I was beyond belligerent.
I was smoking weed.
You took a hit.
I was smoking weed that night, and I smoked weed the next night.
Yeah, you did.
Socially.
It was kind of a reckless summer weekend.
It was a reckless summer weekend. I guess that's Pride.
Yeah. There's no other way to do like a reckless summer weekend than to take like a little baby hit and like maybe 12 drinks.
It's like... I'm like, I'm crazy.
You're coughing.
I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And then a man walked past us. I would say 30-year-old twink wearing a shirt that said daddy.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, what makes a daddy?
Who is daddy?
Who decides who the daddy is?
Is it you or is it someone else?
And that's what I'd like to get to the bottom of today.
So by the end of the episode, we're going to ask you the question, who's your daddy?
Whoa, it's crazy what a yerba mate can do.
Oh my God.
I'm like, this is how we used to talk in 2022.
Yeah. It's like a mile a minute and you don't even give your brain enough time to process what's going to come out. That's why you never know what's going to come out of this gaping throat.
Gaping throat.
It's just like what? And for
and
what?
Like, I know you want to appear. I know you want to show up more
authentically and like
maybe
not,
I was gonna say or like more less
vulgar,
less grotesquerie. Yeah, you know. And yet here we are with gaping throat.
Well, it's because I got my tonsils out because I had tonsillitis
7 times.
7 times.
From what?
From just big old.
What? So, okay. Where should we start here? Where do you want to start? I know you've given this some thought.
Well, I've given it some thought. So I first, do we want to talk about the idea of daddy itself?
The idea of fatherhood?
Well, we can get into fatherhood, but I think
had a dream. I know you had a nightmare.
You guys, I had a nightmare last night. I woke up. I was sweating. My nightmare was this.
That's normal for you.
I was given 2 children. I was not planning on having kids.
Elaborate on how
I was given the 2 children.
You don't know.
I have no idea. There were some plot holes, but all I remember was I was given 2 children unwillingly. I am now their father.
That's crazy.
They were about 5 and 7 years old, and I was thinking in my head, do I even have the finances to go to Glaze tomorrow?
Right.
Do I have the finances to get a little salad? In that moment, probably not. So now I have 2 children to feed.
America has a problem.
America has a problem. I think that was what that's what woke me up.
Yeah.
I was awoken, but
Right.
I thought to myself,
You got woke.
I can't father. I can't father any children.
You could mother.
I would mother. Joe.
No, mothering is much harder.
Mothering
Much
is
harder.
very, very
Much
hard.
harder.
What am I gonna like? I could uncle for now.
I could uncle.
I can barely do that.
barely uncle. I can barely show up for my niece.
Yeah, that's pathetic.
I could barely uncle.
That is pathetic. I would say I don't know. What would you even say? A distant cousin?
This third cousin.
Once removed at this point. But yeah, it was a really big wake up call. I think maybe it was a sign that, well, we're talking about fathering today, but it really brought everything into perspective, because I think about my father. 26.
No, I know we've talked about that before. I can't even possibly begin to fathom the idea. And I know that you're out there. I know that these listeners are out there who have kids who are like our age, if not younger.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing it. They're managing to get by. They're living a lifestyle. I literally spend every day of my life on eBay looking at Littlest Pet Shops, like archival Littlest Pet Shops, and buying them. Like for myself as an adult.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I can't even fathom the idea of putting another human being before me.
No.
And I'm almost 29.
I can barely answer my phone, a text message, an email.
I don't answer
Can you imagine my kid
phone.
was calling me?
No, I don't.
No.
I wouldn't pick up.
They would be stranded on the side of the road.
And can you imagine? Like, I wouldn't be happy about this situation. Can you imagine parent-teacher conferences?
I actually would love to be at a parent-teacher conference.
I would be selling my kid out like this, which my mom did. My mom used to always take the side. Even if my teachers were like, Joe is excellent, she'd be like, well, tell me the truth. You know, like she was always
really.
My mom never like took my side like in a way that was, I think, ultimately good for me.
Yeah.
Like it was never like, my son would never do that. It was never easy for me to be kind of.
That's so interesting that she just didn't. Was it a trust?
I think she trusted me. I think it's more so on that, because if I was, this is what I'm thinking. I'm at a parent-teacher conference. You're the teacher. Actually,
let's do it.
I'm Totino's teacher.
Okay.
Hi, Mr. Muscarella.
Hey, Mrs. Ubaldo.
Who the fuck is that? Where the fuck did Ubaldo come from?
It was the first name that came to my mind.
Your brain is operating in alien-like ways.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in today. As you know, Totino is a very bright student in our classroom.
He is very bright. Do you think he can be a little bit brighter?
Well, I wouldn't want to put that kind of pressure on him. It seems to me like Totino is under a great amount of pressure as is.
Oh, how so? Not at home.
We've been doing creative writing. As you know, I'm sure you've had to sign his journal every week. He's been writing a lot about the insurmountable pressure to become an Olympic athlete that it seems like was brought onto him at home. And I think furthermore, what's perhaps even more...
He's just confused, I think.
I think what's pressuring him even further is it's not just one sport.
Oh.
Because I know that he's in curling.
He's in curling. He's in ice skating.
Yes.
He's in gymnastics.
He's in diving.
Both floor and bar.
Yes.
And he's in diving. Because the thing is, it's like once you're good at one of those, you're good at all of them. Because think about it, you're flipping.
But don't you worry ever about his free time and his mental health.
He doesn't want extra free time. What are you going to do with extra free time? Sit?
I think maybe it would be valuable for Totino to have a second to himself, as he's, he's 6 years old. He's growing every day. His brain is rapidly expanding. And it seems like he doesn't have a second because he is in six sports. And that's not to mention SAT prep.
Well, he is on track for the trials.
I'm sure.
He knows that. I think that, he's a very excellent student.
He is.
I think that, what were you going to say?
I didn't want to bring this up because I think this might be touchy.
It sounded like you did.
I'm noticing an interesting parallel between your handwriting when you're signing these journals and Totino's handwriting on his math homework. And I'm just wondering if maybe you're there supporting him as he's working at home, which is fine. But I just want to make sure that Totino is getting the most out of his education that he possibly could, and that he's not being interfered with from maybe yourself,
of course,
or
Mrs.
another adult at
Ubaldo.
home.
Of course. And I never want you to have to think that. I just want you to say, no, it's like mother, like son. Like, I've shown him how to write these numbers. I've shown him how to do these equations. So he has mimicked. He's a very smart student. He's very observant, as we all know, very observant. So when he sees my handwriting, he just mimics. He just mimics the way that I write those 4s, those 3s, those 2s, those 1s. He just is a delight.
He is a delight. That's for certain.
I don't want you to think I'm getting involved. I'm interfering because he's at practice until 10:30 p.m.
Yeah, I was wondering when he had time to even do his homework.
When he's doing his homework. He's doing his homework in the car. He's doing his homework when he gets home at 10:30. Lights out midnight. Lights out midnight. He's up 4:30 a.m. swimming in the pool.
That's incredible. Yeah. That's incredible. And
hard worker, good ethic.
Hard worker, great ethic, great kid. Very sweet. Very sweet to the other kids. There's something dark there. All right, Mrs.
Ubaldo, I'm going to wrap it up because it sounds like you want to parent my child. And that's why I couldn't be gifted those children.
Yeah, it would be a lot.
It would be a lot
on them.
Can you imagine I received children at 5 and 7? I have a lot of work to catch up on.
You have to catch up on like 7 years of gymnastics. I'm like,
okay.
7 years of gymnastics.
I'm sorry, honey. You missed the little hops and skips. Let's get you to a triple axel.
That sucks.
That sucks for them.
That sucks for those kids.
Yeah, it really does suck. But on the topic of fathering, I wanted to talk about the daddy issue. And if you think that daddy issues lead into people wanting to be called daddy and or
son,
or do you just believe it's like, fuck it, right?
Well, let me think about some daddies in pop culture that I've always had an affinity for.
Yeah.
Kim Possible's dad, right out of the gate, for some reason, first man I thought of.
Daddy.
Mr. Possible.
With him, anything's possible.
Mr. Possible.
Yeah. I'm sorry. And I know he's
Future's dad.
Phil the Future's dad. This is the problem. When I was younger, I was probably thinking any dad hot. My problem, and I know, is he an issue? He's a problem. I shouldn't even say his name.
Tim Allen. Yeah. You could talk about
Tim
Allen.
I was gonna say Tim Allen.
He is like a Republican, but I think you can still talk about him. We've talked about him plenty on this podcast.
I didn't know if he was like doing things aside from like voting row B. He's not great. But I will say he was looking great in the Santa Claus. Oh my God! Yeah. Like he was looking tight.
Oh God,
he was looking right.
What about in Christmas with the Cranks?
Yeah, I would also.
Doesn't he wear a Speedo in that?
Yeah,
yeah, that was important.
Yeah. He aged a little bit in that one, but I was so fine with it. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'd even go so far to say Lizzie McGuire.
Oh, wow.
Dad.
Wow. Now, he's geeky to me.
But, Joe, you know what they say about geeks.
Okay, yeah. I guess all geeks have donkey dicks is what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Anyways, away from gamers and their length.
Yeah. Other pop culture daddies that interested you?
Oh, like besides Haley Steinfeld's dad?
That came later. That came in our 20s. We found out about him.
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Steinfeld.
But I mean, and there was also like always older men, but I'm trying to think about like actual father figures.
I hate to say it. Jerry Russo was a cutie. And we're not going to talk about it, but there is an unspoken bit of information in the air currently, and it's a shame.
There's a huge elephant in the room.
Yes. Yeah.
And it is with regards to Jerry Russo, but not knowing any of that, Jerry Russo could get it.
Yeah.
Because you know what? You know what it is for me? David DeLuise, charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent.
He kind of does have it all.
He does. And like, you know what? Like, that's sexy body to me.
And you know who's a father on Disney Channel now? David Henry.
I'll say the last father.
Uh-huh.
The occasional appearance on Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Oh my God.
The hottest dad of them all.
Wait, I forgot all about him.
He was kind of like...
He was...
edgy, like wasn't
he was edgy and older, right?
Yes.
Like he wasn't like the because I feel like Disney Channel used to cast like 28-year-old men and
no, he was definitely
like 21-year-old women and say these are the parents to these 12-year-olds.
He was definitely older, but he was like
he was.
But I mean, if you were ending up with Carrie Martin, who
I want to see. Oh my God, where is that film? Oh, wouldn't you like to see
how they met?
Wouldn't you like to see Carrie Martin as a 20-something?
I would.
Before the twins?
I would.
I have chills. It's almost like that's the next Sex in the City.
And I honestly think she could have been Boston. Amazing bisexual representation.
Yes.
Because she was dating it like she was dating like a Catherine before this man came through.
She's kind of Miranda.
She's Miranda Hobbs.
It's just because she has a short haircut.
She's hobbying.
But no, I think that would be a really interesting show.
I agree.
I want to see how she's on the road with the husband, with that man. She's on the road and she's a singer, and Carrie's a singer, and her husband made it. He's the rock star.
He's the rock star, and
her. Oh my God! And
she's
alone raising two psychotic 12-year-old twin boys in a hotel.
Kind of the reverse of A Star Is Born.
Tell me something, girl.
But I'll tell you one thing, one difference. Carrie Martin made it.
She's the star.
She's the star.
Kim Rhodes.
When you're riding high in that elevator and you're in that hotel and you're the star of that hotel, what else do you need?
If she got that suite comped, which she had to have, just to sing in that hotel ballroom every couple of days.
Joe, I'd be singing every day at the hotel. I do that now.
I just don't know how she did it. I don't know how she did it.
No.
But yeah, I would fuck Zach and Cody's dad.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Are they fathers?
Now?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think that either of them has a kid. No.
People
who are our age or slightly older who have children, Justin Bieber.
When they're younger and they're having children, I don't even want to think about it.
It pisses me off.
At this point,
nasty.
I'm sorry, everyone. Wait until you're 40.
Wow.
And I know that's actually a really one-sided thing to say, considering I don't have a biological clock, and that's fucked up. But the guy can wait until he's 40.
So what you're saying is that like all women should be younger than their partner.
Or if you're not willing to do that, that's so fine. Also, it's like you can have the kid when you're 30. Like I understand. I completely get it. I get the biological clock. If that's not your journey, there are kids that need to be adopted as well.
And clock that.
T.
Clock that. Yeah.
You know? So I'm waiting until 40, 16. 45.
Yeah, that makes sense for you.
But I was almost ready to go in 3 years.
You said that. I quit. I gave up.
I know you quit. But I've been starting to date daddies.
Right. Oh my God.
I've been starting to date daddies.
Let's talk about that for a second now.
Dating daddies. Well, I think
dating a daddy.
Let's date back my daddy.
Well,
first of all, can I just say this before we get sexual? And I'm going to speak to the community because I also know I've said this before. If you are an adult and you are still calling your father, your biological father, daddy, just know you aren't alone. You aren't alone. And I do believe it's weird. And I don't know why it hasn't stopped. And I don't know why I talk to my sister who's almost 40 years old. We say, have you talked to daddy this week? What's mommy up to? It just feels strange. But just know you're not alone. Sorry, I had to clear the air.
That was really brave.
Thank you.
That was really brave.
Because it was been weighing on me.
It's tough.
Because people have been telling me I'm a freak.
It's weird.
It is weird.
It is weird.
But you know it's a learned behavior.
Well, you can't. It's one of those things where you're like, you can't really judge it because you can't judge the person saying daddy, but you are like, whoa. You never drew a boundary there. Yeah. You just kept it going.
No.
Yeah.
But let me close that chapter because now I'm going to be talking about me calling daddy in a different context. Right. I think what happened for me is since I started with Brad on Wall Street.
Yeah.
You know,
Brad.
I literally miss Brad. I miss Brad so much. Like I was just not ready for it at that time. I would have climbed him like a tree.
You were like a teenager. You were like early 20s.
I was 21.
Okay, that's fine. I guess. I remember when that happened. I remember when you hooked up with, like, how old was he? No shade. No judgment.
No judgment. That's so fine.
You don't want to say it?
No, I'll say it. I think he was around 52, 53.
Okay.
What's 30 years? What's 30 years? I'm not even 30. What's 30 years?
Yeah, it's like, that's fine, I guess.
My life.
I remember like you saying that, and I remember being like, that is like the craziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Like,
I did think I was going to be straight up murdered.
And you were okay with that.
It's because in moments like that, you have to accept your fate. When you have already douched in the Wall Street Starbucks bathroom, like, what else do you have to lose?
Right.
Life? Like, I was already walking down Wall Street in my suit, fully cleaned out as they're baking pain au chocolats. You know? Like, it's
What's
just...
the point?
What's the point?
What's the point?
What's the point? Let him do what he needed to do.
And he did.
And he did. And then afterwards, I've said this before, but for those who are new or listening, he said... You should really be careful. This is how my roommate in college got murdered.
That's a great time to take an ad break.
And we're back to talk to you about daddies. Daddies. Emphasis on the D's.
Oh. Yeah, so this week, it only makes sense to dive into something that is so integral to so much of culture. I was going to say gay culture, but it's kind of culture in general.
It is.
The axis of the daddy.
Well, you have to think about it. For me, I'm like, oh yeah, it's so integral to gay culture, but you think about like the Alex Cooper, the Call Her Daddy, the Daddy Gang, people talking about daddies, you know?
Sex in the City, to bring it back.
Yeah.
I'm back into Sex in the City right now.
Are you back into Sex in the City? Okay, I was about to say.
Not in Just Like That.
I know. I have heard. I couldn't even bring myself.
Hysterical. It's hysterical.
Hysterically horrible.
Yes. We've had our fair share of experiences with an older gentleman, and some are great, some are interesting, and some are just downright horrible. I would say. But time comes for us all. So I think that we approach it with an honest, fair, hey, you're giving it a shot. And I'm sure 30 years ago, I would have been really obsessed.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And it's, what age do you think that you become or can claim
Thank you for
the
asking.
Word daddy?
This is a really okay. This is important. That's actually what I wanted to have this whole conversation about. Like, this is what hit me, because it is that we're nearing an age where when someone, oh my God, when someone like messages me on Scruff and they say, "Hey son," I'm taking that as a compliment. I'm like, okay, I'm young. Like, I could be your son, I guess. That's great. Like, and that feels good. Like, I actually am like, that's great news, because then there will be like a 22-year-old twink in Bushwick who will message me and say, "Hey, daddy," and I'm like, I would have been in elementary school at the same time as you. Yeah. What are you talking about?
You're not.
You were in kindergarten. I was in 5th grade. Like, there's not the biggest age gap there. I don't know if I'm your daddy necessarily, but
I'll say it. Daddy is a mindset.
I know, of course it is.
Daddy is a mindset, and I don't know if that is because it's quintessentially the provider.
Oh, that's
the
gorgeous.
one who's taking care, a comfortable space. I think that daddy is a mindset in that way, and I think lately, as of last week, I have claimed the word.
As of last week?
Yeah.
Last week something happened?
Something happened last week because I said to myself, who am I? What am I? Am I too old to be a sugar baby? I've written that out.
No, I'm telling you. I said this to you on Fire Island. I was begging you.
Daddy William reached out to me, and Daddy William ended up blocking me. So I don't know what to say, but maybe one last moment in that I had that feeling, and I said, you know what?
We were just, before we started recording, saying how we can't afford to live anymore. I think that I think it would be incredibly beneficial for you to find a nice older gentleman who will take you to the ballet, who will buy you a little tuxedo to wear to it, and who will take you out for a nice dinner. I think it's so available. You're going to start crying.
You think that, like... So, like, I just need to find myself a daddy.
And I think that if you found yourself a daddy, we all benefit. Like, and I'm not even saying financially. I'm not even saying... just like socially. I think that a daddy in our apartment would be a blast. I think he would love us. I think we would love him.
You know, he'd be making, like, a braised beef.
Yes. And he would take you to places. He would show you culture. He would fly you around the world.
He'd say, babe, you want to go to Nice?
You'd be in Dubai with daddy.
Stop. DWD. Dubai with daddy.
Do not disturb with DWD.
Oh, I'm D&Ding with him.
Yeah. I just think it makes sense for you. I think that like that's like, I don't know. You got to think about it this way, because I also could see it. May I even so far as suggest,
Please.
I could see you being the sugar daddy down the line. You know what I mean?
I agree. And I think that I'm maybe like pretty premature. Right now I'm going through puberty. That's actually a good way to put it. I think I'm personally going through daddy puberty. And the way that I see that is like I am aging, right? My body is morphing. I'm going through this era of identity crisis.
Well, that's just crisis period.
It's just crisis period.
Most of the time.
I've had men call me daddy who are older than me. Now that seems odd.
That just seems like we're stretching the limits of imagination. You know, it feels like a
But now is daddy... Let's go through characterizations or characteristics. Is daddy age? Is daddy body? Is daddy... Because your point, you saw a 30-year-old twink, right? With a little daddy.
Who had a daddy shirt on.
And you were like, what's a daddy?
What's a daddy?
But that 30-year-old twink...
Is a daddy.
Is a daddy...
Because he's
to
telling
some
us
20-year-old twink.
Exactly. And I think that it really is all about how you put yourself out into the world. I think ultimately no one gets to tell you who you are until you decide for yourself. And to your point about daddy puberty, I think that's actually a really brilliant thing that people aren't talking about.
No one's talking enough about daddy puberty.
I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that twink death is so constantly referenced and in fact celebrated at times.
Yes.
From local Brooklyn comedians.
Yes.
And I think daddy birth is just as real. I think daddy puberty is very real.
I think, Joe, we should make a song
called Daddy Puberty.
Daddy birth. No, we
Daddy
should
birth
almost
disgusting.
our next tour.
Daddy birth, the daddy birth tour.
The daddy birth tour.
I remember being like 21, 22 on Grindr and thinking like, I'm a full grown man. Like I was like, everything, like this is it. And I remember this man messaging me and he said, like, you're so handsome. When you grow into your man body, you're going to be gorgeous. And I was like, that's like, first of all, disgusting sentence.
Man body?
But I've thought about it ever since. And I was like, wait, I thought I was done with it. Like, what do you mean?
He said,
grow into your man body.
You must not like cardio.
You must not like lifting.
You must not like
but
that.
now I'm like, I do, to your point, like bodies are changing. I do think that we're growing into our man bodies.
I think we are growing into our man bodies. And I think that is for me. That's why it's freaking me out. Not to say that daddies can't be bottoms, because I've been with some daddy bottoms.
I love a daddy bottom.
But there's sometimes I feel perceived
as a top.
As a daddy top.
Because you're so masculine.
Because I'm like trying to lift as much as possible.
Right.
Because I want that for myself. So I take my shirt off. I'm walking around $3 bill. I'm catching eyes with the 22-year-old twinks. Not that I want to be. They're looking at me.
Please.
Don't even. But yeah, I've been leaning into the daddy. I've been talking to people on Grindr. Like, what are you going to do?
No, nothing.
They want to be called baby boy. So what? So what?
Baby boy, you stay on my mind.
Baby boy, you stay on my mind.
Fulfill my fantasy.
See,
I think about it
all the time. I see you in my dreams. Baby boy, not a day goes by. Wow.
You to the 5 and 7-year-old. I see you in my dreams.
Stop. Ew. Ugh. But anyways, yeah, I think that daddy has to do with body. It also has to do with age. And I think that once you claim that you are a daddy, you are a daddy.
So you know what's interesting to me now is, so time really does come for us. Like you stop being able to decide who you are as you age. There are daddies out there. There are people in their 40s, 50s plus who are still twinks, who believe they are still twinks and who still feel like a twink, who maybe even still feel like a son. And yet now they're a daddy.
But I do believe a lot of these tribes, well, not tribes, because like I don't even really believe in that shit, because again, I don't even know what I am. I will be a bear, I'm sure, because I think I am a bear. I'm a bear now.
You have biceps the size of your head, and you have a furry, hairy barrel chest and giant thighs. Like, what do you mean? You're like a muscle bear.
I realize that you're telling me this, and for some reason, I still think I'm 23 years old.
I know, I understand.
And for so long, I was like, I never knew what I was because I'm too young to be a bear. Bitch, I'm old.
Well, no, listen.
I'm a bear now.
We're not old. Like, I think that's foolish. That's
foolish
judgment.
No, I'm not old. I'm morphing. I am aging, and I'm going through my puberty era. I have to find another word instead of puberty, but
it's not, I was going to say transition.
But yeah, no, I definitely think I'm leaning more daddy bear, and I think that there is this quality for me lately is like, for so long I was looking for someone to comfort me, right? For so long I was the son, I was the baby, I was like, please, I need this love, yes. I need this attention, I need this affection, I need this validation. And you know what? When you go through years of receiving and receiving and receiving, sometimes you hit your limit. You hit that cap and you say, I have enough love, affection, and affirmation to give somebody else now.
And don't you also think, though, part of that is like your confidence increases? Yeah. Like, you get to the point where you're like, because it's like, we've talked about this when we came out, it was like, well, it was actually different for both of us, but I think a lot of gays come out and they're like, I'm a bottom, because you're afraid to be the performer, the one who's doing like the fucking, I guess. And then as you get older, you're like, oh, okay, I can do whatever I want. Like, I'm now confident sexually. Do you think that the daddiness comes with confidence?
Daddiness comes with confidence and literally being comfortable in your skin.
Cozy with who you are.
When you're cozy with who you are, I think that is when you hit that next tier. Because that is the whole point of being a daddy, is what I'm learning, is, again, creating that comfortable space. That baby boy.
Okay, no.
That good boy. That's what they call him. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? That good boy just wants to feel appreciated. It's so strange, but it's not. And I don't know how to put it. It's like when you're messaging somebody and they're like kinks, they're like daddy's son.
It is
and
crazy.
You're like, what?
It is crazy. Like, seeing it laid out on paper is really interesting. Also, I hate when someone's asking me, we've talked about this before, let's find out what we're into in the moment.
Oh, are you that person?
I just hate an into.
I'll tell you why I like an into. Well, it
feels like you're trading Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like, the transaction shit doesn't really click for me. Like, in that way, I'm like, how much less personal could this be? How much less real could this be?
Yes, but I think that there are people out here who are like pleasers. Right?
Yeah.
So when that person knows what you're into, it like sheds a layer of like, okay, now I'm comfortable. I'm going into this situation kind of like I studied for a test. Yeah, like, I have the info.
You've always been a prepper.
I'm a prepper. I know what I need to do when I get in there, and there's no like, oh, can I? It does release that, but I think that's a normal behavior that people should be asking if they can do these things.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, I'm gonna tie you up to the bed now.
Well, I really hope to God that, that doesn't seem like that's even a sexual act at that point. That seems a little bit beyond.
But sometimes I receive that when they say into.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Yeah, but I just don't think into is necessary. I don't think the phrase into is necessary. I think you say, can I tie you up?
You think you just say that?
Yeah, even I was saying on like a message, but even in person.
Can I just tie you up? I'm just gonna tie you up. No, I think
like
that
a rotisserie chicken.
Like a rotisserie chicken. Like, give me those hands. No, I think that is very normal. I think it is normal. I think a lot of people do get thrown off though by the into. I think I've realized that, especially when you're messaging somebody. It feels a little
young to me. It feels a little like,
yes.
I feel like I was doing it a lot in my early 20s, and now I'm kind of like,
I don't even send pics really anymore.
Yeah,
I think when you're talking to people who are a little bit older, they're not even asking for pics. No. They don't even give a fuck.
No,
because I don't give a fuck. You're gonna whip it out, and what's gonna happen? I'm gonna say, No!
We had this exact conversation.
Last week. Of course. Because we're always thinking about it. We're always on the topic.
Yeah, no, but it is true.
When was the last daddy you've been with? Do you like to be with a daddy?
I do like to be with a daddy. I do. I mean, Fire Island.
Oh, yeah. Fire Island is daddy central.
Yeah, the Hotel Belvedere.
I think we're going to absolutely eat when we go to P-Town.
I know.
I'm scared.
I know.
And this is another thing I thought. Speaking of bears, and this is no shade to twinks. This is no shade to twinks. I'm just recognizing that I like to eat. I like to eat.
Is that what you were going to say?
No, yeah, I was going to say.
You like to get a little pizza after.
I like to get a little Taco Bell and pizza after.
Yes.
And I would like to know what everybody in that space is doing when they go, because I'm getting a snack, right? And I think that obviously as you start finding your community will maybe also be doing something similar. And I think if I was to start going to bear parties, they would want to eat, and so would I. We would be leaving eating a lot.
So what you just said was nothing. I actually have no idea.
No, what I was saying was like I was at $3 bill,
or if it was.
I was at $3 bill for Thai tea, and I was looking around, and I was like, okay, there's people of all over, like all different shapes and sizes. That's sure, but it definitely was leaning one way, and that was leaning a little bit more towards twink. Jock muscle twink.
Yeah.
And then I was like with a little group of bears, and I was like, why am I never putting myself in situations where I'm actually part of the whole majority? When we went to Folsom Fest or whatever that was in LA, I was like, oh my God, these are my people. Like this, I feel comfortable and safe, and I could have my shirt off, because I had my shirt off at $3 bill on Sunday, which was wild. But I was feeling my oats. I was having an amazing time. But then I was like, I'm staying in my head being like, what's going on around me?
And it is like that's why I am like, that's why I'm trying to go to Bear Weekend and Fire Island and shit, because I am like, this space is for me. Like this space is a place where I feel comfortable, and like obviously there's layers to that, but like when me and Garrett went to the bear party, like the night before we went to the underwear party, and it wasn't bear themed, that pizza shop was closed. The next night we go to the bear party, pizza shop open, slinging pies, everyone's standing in there with their harnesses eating pizza. I was like, of course you are. And that's also amazing, because it's like, it's just less you're less insecure about your body. And the moment that happens, you're a brand new person. The moment you're like, I could take off my shirt and not think twice, like, best feeling on the planet.
Daddy behavior. When you're comfortable, you're just taking that shirt off. There's a little hair on that chest. You're ready to absolutely just tear. Daddy behavior. Daddy behavior. You know? So I'm claiming daddy. Sorry, I'm going through daddy puberty.
It's a daddy kind of
Dad-dubery?
Let's workshop it after this. I think that we'll get someplace good with that.
Duberty.
Well, let's workshop it after this. I think that there's something there. I think daddy puberty is fine, honestly. Yeah. We're turning a corner. We're rounding out our 20s. We're going to be in our 30s. Again, young. Young. We look about 68 and 43 respectively. You're 43. Congratulations.
Joe, no, you don't look 68.
That's sweet. Okay, well, I would hope to God. It wasn't really that serious. But yeah, we are becoming. We're becoming. To quote Michelle Obama, we are becoming.
We are becoming.
And who's to say who we will become? But we know that a daddy is along the way.
But if you are a sugar daddy currently listening, I'm baby.
I'm available baby. As long as you're willing to share me.
I am baby, one of my favorite performers in New York City.
I'm baby.
There you go. Should we go into a little game?
Well, you came with an idea for a game, I heard.
I came? You wish. I came prepared with a little game, and it's going to be called Daddy or Baby. And I want to just run off a list of a few different celebrities, people who come to my mind. Joe, Daddy or Baby? Daddy or Baby? Will Ferrell.
Well, I'm confused here because there's almost a non-negotiable, like that he's like older. Will Ferrell's a daddy.
Okay, maybe then I should be doing 20-year-olds, like, 30-year-olds.
Maybe it's even like, I don't know.
Zohran Mamdani.
A politician.
That we're going to, actor, singer. Like,
I'm not calling Zohran a daddy. I'm not.
Everybody else is on the internet.
I know.
I guess that's the problem.
We
You
gotta
can't call
stop.
people daddy.
We gotta stop.
Delete the episode.
No, that's not the problem.
Omar Apollo.
A child.
He's our age. What happened to the game?
So baby.
Okay, he's your baby.
I'm just confused because the game feels like you're just naming people who are in their 20s or people who are in their 40s plus. So it's like
I was trying to go younger.
I just don't know like how, you know what I mean? It feels like the answer is in the name. Do you get what I'm saying?
No. Troye Sivan.
Baby.
Pedro Pascal. He's
Daddy.
old.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm just confused about the.
But you can be a baby. You can be a baby. I can be a baby. You can be a daddy. And I can be a daddy. Daddy is a mindset. So you are placing the daddy or baby on that person based on if you were in a situation, would they be the daddy or would they be the baby?
This is perverse work. I would change Pedro to baby.
Baby.
I think he is kind of baby.
I think he's cute. He's kind of baby.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. That's good. We're getting somewhere. That's fantastic news. You want to ask me a few?
Okay, Orlando Bloom.
Baby.
Baby with that paddleboard picture.
That, Joe, because I'm gonna daddy.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. What about Jacob Elordi?
Jacob Elordi is baby.
Yeah.
Jacob Elordi is baby, right?
Yeah, I think he's for
He's
sure
like 6'8",
baby.
but he's a baby.
He's a baby. Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet.
Baby.
Right.
Although I kind of get it. Like, I kind of get daddy from that. Right? Like, Kylie, like, you know what I mean? Well, she's... that's a whole different side of the coin. Because there's daddies.
And then there's
mommies.
Yeah.
And she is a mommy.
Kylie is definitely a mommy, yeah.
She's a mother.
Yeah. Andrew Michael B. Jordan.
Daddy. Bad Bunny.
He exists in a liminal space here because he is...
He's verse?
Yeah, he's kind of verse to me because he is obviously daddy, but at the same time he has this like youthful charm and edge to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give him he's a fully formed person.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. As opposed to everyone else we said, I guess.
Who isn't fully formed. I'm sorry to say it to you. Shawn Mendes.
I mean, he's a baby.
That's baby.
He's a baby.
Yeah. Is he? He's not a father.
No,
for some reason,
that's
I was
crazy
like,
to think.
He wants to be.
Hey, people.
No, we're nasty.
Hey, people.
We're nasty people. We're nasty.
Do you think that like he'll ever recover from
No.
Benny's impression of him?
No, I don't think he ever will.
He never will because it's almost too exact.
It's really tough.
Nick Jonas.
Baby.
He is cousin I don't speak to. Cousin I don't respond. Cousin who I have blocked on texting.
Baby.
He is distant relative.
Kevin Jonas.
Distant relative. Distant.
Daddy.
Distant relative.
Joe Jonas.
Distant, far removed. Get them away from me.
Baby.
Get them away from me.
So it goes Nick baby, Kevin daddy, and Joe baby. And people are going to say that's crazy. But I'm just going off of stats here. Kevin father. And I see
Joe
him
has
that way.
Joe has a kid as well.
Yeah, but
and so does Nick.
They probably do, but they give baby in. If they give
Pazuzu. They give Labubu. Demonic. Dark
anyways,
energy.
that was our game, daddy or baby or good boy or whatever you want to call it. But you know what, daddy,
I thought it
son,
was. Hey, you know what? We had a good time.
It
made sense to me, and it wasn't hard to get through.
It wasn't hard to get through, and sometimes you need to play a game like that with your friend to really put things into perspective.
And next time we'll play Top Bottom Suck.
Next
Maybe
time
on Patreon.
Next time I want to play Top Bottom Suck. Yeah.
Let's take a listener call. How do you call in?
How do you call in? You know how to call in. It's 516-366-0826. Call us with a question. Hit us with a story. Ask for our advice, and we're willing to give it to you.
And I've said it before, and everyone takes it very seriously. Minute and a half.
Yeah.
Minute and a half. Good children to the guidance office.
Daddy edition. Also, I have a question before we even get into it. Do daddies need to speak differently? Like, I wouldn't be like, hey
people.
Hey people.
What's up, people?
What's up,
Shawn
people?
Mendes.
Like, you're such a good boy. Like, hey, baby. Hey, little snookums. You wouldn't. Like, I feel like they are like putting on a role. It's like you're acting. You're like, yeah, you like that?
All right, I'm gonna press play on the voicemail.
I'm scared.
I'm 22, which I mentioned in my first voicemail, and I've never had a serious relationship. I only went on my first second date like half a year ago. I know I'm like objectively young. I'm 22, but like I don't know. I'm also a lesbian, and like I'm kind of scared of women, so like it's a whole psychological thing. Yeah, any advice would be great. Any like words of like kindness would be awesome. Yeah, I'm just like feeling not great about it, and I feel like the longer it goes on, the more I feel bad about it. Anyway, peace. Sorry I left 3 voicemails. I'm like kind of stoned right now, so like I feel like it's whatever, but like maybe when I'm not stoned I'll be like, damn, that was like a bit much. Love you guys. Big fans. All the best. Bye.
I love that you had to clarify like some like kindness your way because we were gonna be nasty.
And that's actually a good tip for all callers. You can let us know how you want us to respond.
Yeah, if you want us to like whip you into shape and like get nasty, we're willing to get nasty. But Mama,
you are so young. I know hearing that means nothing when you don't care actually, but you are torturing yourself. You're torturing yourself.
You're torturing yourself, but I really realized once you said that you were 22 years old and that you were a lesbian and that you hate women.
We've all been there.
We have all been there, girl. Go back to our first episode of this podcast. We were 25 years old. We hated men. We were homophobic. And I have still never been in a relationship. So if that makes you actually feel any better, I mean, I guess I have been in relationships, but like they haven't been longer than like 3 months. So what are you going to do about that? But you know what? I'm not wallowing away in it. I feel very confident in it that your person is out there. I would say the way to put yourself out there, it's like, one, it's really not going to happen if you hate. Like if you like are harboring a lot of feelings towards women.
You can go to the gay bar. You're not going to go home with anyone if you don't. Like we've done it a million times.
When we were in Italy, we went to the gay bar. We sat in the corner.
Yeah, and like we still had a good time because we had each other.
Oh yeah,
of
course.
It's literally you need to stop. You need to
kind.
I know I'm being kind because I am like you're being mean to yourself and you're setting a crazy unfair expectation on yourself. Like you are 22. You are a lesbian. Like you have the world in the palm of your hands right now. You really do. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, but it's not even a matter of when because it's going to happen. Like all of these things are like switch flips. So right now you're on the opposite side of this like hurdle or like this big canyon that's in front of you and you're like, I'm never gonna be able to get over that canyon. Like I'm going to fall into the canyon.
I'm going to fall into the canyon. I'm never going to back out.
Yeah. And in reality, one day you're going to say, oh, there's the bridge. You're going to walk over the canyon and you're going to forget about the canyon. You're not even going to remember.
Yeah.
You're not even going to remember feeling that way. Like it's going to feel so distant and so far away and so blurry because there's going to be 15 more canyons.
And you know what? You might fall off that canyon. You're going to forget for a second. You're attached to a parachute. And that parachute is going to guide you right down to the bottom of that canyon. Oh, wait, someone's strapped up there with you. They're going to take you right back to the top. All right? So it's an easy fall. It's an easy descent. You get right back up there. People want to say a lot of shit about me. But I'll tell you, I would say I'm a modern day prophet.
So, yeah, you're putting pressure on yourself that you don't need to. You can't really change how you feel. But let me tell you, girl, there are going to be plenty of relationships in your life. Like plenty of flings, plenty of women. It's only a matter of time. Most important thing you can do right now is push yourself ever so slightly out of your comfort zone. Like, challenge a little bit of a belief or a fear daily if you could, or even weekly. And just know with time comes experience, confidence, and growth. Like, it's literally, you're a plant and you're in soil and there is water and there is light. Like, you are just going to grow.
Yeah. And save this episode, because I guarantee when you're listening to this back in 3 years, you're going to say, I can't believe how much growth I've had. I'm in a relationship. I can't believe I was feeling this way. It's so normal to feel this way, but just know you're not stuck.
I have called into podcasts and said very, 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 very similar things.
Yeah.
And I look back and I'm like, I can't even listen to it because I'm like, oh, wow.
But don't be ashamed.
No, but it's just you will feel like a different person. Like, you will feel so far removed from ever feeling that way.
Yeah.
The future is bright. And it's full of lesbians.
And it's queer.
Full of lesbians. Look at Renee Rapp. Hey, am I right?
You're right.
Renee Rapp. Am I right?
You're right.
Look at Renee Rapp. What was that response from you?
Let's wrap that up.
You're not a rappinator?
I'm not a rappinator right now.
The new music is fun.
Her music is good. Anyways.
Whoa.
I'm tired of rumors starting. Joe, what's right up your alley this week?
My rumor this week is, oddly enough, believe it or not, Abercrombie & Fitch.
Really?
I'm wearing Abercrombie & Fitch top to bottom right now, except for my necklace, which is Chipotle. I'm wearing an Abercrombie & Fitch shirt.
Cute.
I'm wearing Abercrombie & Fitch
linen.
And it's thick. Andrew.
It's thick.
In all the right places.
I'll tell you something. It's thick, but it certainly looks thin in a way that's linen-like.
You're walking down the street. You're not worried about the breeze.
You're smooth.
You're not worried about the breeze.
You're walking through life like you just hit Facetune. Like you're walking in a Facetune life.
You're dancing through life. And I have the person who really kind of got me hooked on Abercrombie & Fitch is Jason.
Of course.
Jason was posting a lot about Abercrombie & Fitch, and I was like, you know what? I have not shopped this website or this store since 2008.
Yeah.
And I know they've had their scandals.
They have had their scandals.
And they've had their highs, they've had their lows, they've had their low rises. And now they are supplying incredible fits.
Joe, their outfits are really, really nice. Even their simple t-shirts.
No, yeah.
Like
the
they're
cute.
getting
the
me.
shirts are cute.
Sometimes I like stray away from like a graphic tee because I'm like, people are gonna know where that graphic tee is from. Yeah. But I'm like, I don't even give a fuck. Like, it's nice.
Yeah.
Their shorts are nice. I have I bought recently some seersuckers from them.
Wow.
I'm back in my seersucker Sperry summer.
Wow. Yeah, no, I'm actually like really all about A&F.
Yeah, so cute. Right up my alley this week is probably a woman's extra large cropped form-fitting tank top. That's what.
Yes, yeah, that's clear.
That is literally all I want to be wearing this summer. I feel sexy as hell. I feel thick. I feel it's hugging in the right places. But you know what? For somebody like me, I've hid my body for so long. I've obviously worked on my body as well. But if I could have told myself anything like 5 years ago when I wasn't as confident, it's like sometimes you gotta let it hang out. So my stomach is out and I feel good about it. Like, I'm not like trying to fix my stomach. Like, I don't know. It's very freeing. So, and I like how form-fitting it is. I feel like I normally am somebody who likes when something's loose and I'm always pulling on it if it's not loose enough. But this summer, especially this week, was all about a woman's XL tight crop top.
That's crazy.
And I've always been a woman's XL.
Sometimes petite XL.
Sometimes petite.
When you were taking my great aunt's clothing, yeah.
I loved those pants.
Those Walmart sweatpants.
Petite woman's XL.
My great aunt she's like 90 something.
Well, kind of same.
In some ways.
Spirit. Well,
wow.
With that being said, I want to ask the question again. Joe, who is your daddy?
Wow. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode. You know what to do.
Like, comment, subscribe, rate, review. We are so close again to 10,000 reviews. We might even be there at this point. All right? But let's get it up. Send it to your friends. Share the word. Stop us on the street. Say a little something.
And don't forget, we have a brand new exclusive Patreon episode dropping every single Thursday at 8 p.m. in the locker room.
And if you thought that these episodes are steamy, wait until you step foot into that locker room, because baby, there's a steam room in there and things are about to go down.
And it stinks.
And it stinks.
You can follow us across all social media platforms at Good Children Pod to get the latest, to get some insider scoops, to see some incredible photographs.
Oh, very good photos.
Incredible photographs. And you can follow me on TikTok at Be Quiet Joe and on Instagram at Joe Hegyes, Hegyes.
I'm on TikTok at Andrew_Muskie and on Instagram at Andrew Muscarella.
For some reason, I feel like your last name is like phonetic, like it's easy to spell.
Like, yeah, Muscarella.
Little fly.
Little fly. That's all it means in Italian.
All right, you guys.
We'll Au revoir. It's time for me to take care of some good boys.
You're going to prison.
I really am. And I'm turning myself in first.